Don't watch this if you have a Ring doorbell, because once you hear this, you're never going to feel alone on your porch again. Every night, at exactly 3:17 a.m., her Ring camera detected motion. Not 3:16, not 3:18, always 3:17. At first she laughed it off. Raccoons, headlights, glitchy Wi-Fi. People in quiet American suburbs love believing nothing bad lies behind their doors. But fear keeps better time than any clock. By the fourth night, she stopped laughing. My name is Rafe Quinn, 20 years in homicide. I've stood over scenes people never truly recover from. But this case didn't feel like work. It felt like I'd been expected. The woman who called me was Elise Hartman, small town. White porch fence, unfinished coffee on the counter, and eyes that said she'd been listening to something she couldn't unhear. The first night, she opened the Ring feed and saw nothing, but her porch swing was already moving. The second night, the same thing happened. The third night, she didn't open the feed at all. She just stared at the alert on her lock screen like a warning label she didn't want to peel off. Then the fourth night came. Her phone didn't buzz once. It buzzed over and over until the screen almost froze. She finally opened the live view. Something was already inches from the lens. Not a face. Just too much skin in the frame, like the camera was being pressed into something alive. Pixels bent outward. Breath fogged the glass. There was no audio, but behind her, inside the room, something whispered, "Rafe." She didn't know my name. No one should have. And yet here I was, already part of a story that hadn't finished with me yet. When I arrived, Elise looked like she'd forgotten how to blink. Curtains closed. Lights off. Phone on the table like a loaded gun she was scared to touch. "Show me," I said. Her hand shook while she opened the app. 4 nights, all stamped, 3:17 a.m., first clip. Empty porch, swing moving. Wind chimes still. That bothered me. Air doesn't move one thing and ignore another. Second clip. Same thing. Third clip, a glitch. Something blocked the infrared field for a split second. Then slipped away like it knew exactly where detection ended. Not random, intentional. Then we watched the fourth clip, the too close skin. The wrong mouth, eyes that didn't reflect light the way human eyes do. I rewound it frame by frame. At 0:03 seconds, something twitched behind the face. Like another face behind the first one, failing to line up. Deepfakes do that, sometimes. Houses don't. "Elise," I asked quietly, "where were you when you heard the whisper?" She didn't point at the door. She pointed behind her couch, at the basement door. That's when everything changed. The camera wasn't detecting what was on the porch. It was detecting motion on the other side of the wall. Something close enough to the camera to be seen, and close enough to her to breathe a name she should not have known. We walked the house together. Not because I needed to, because the house wanted us to. There's a kind of silence that doesn't mean empty. This silence waited. Elise finally told me everything she'd been too embarrassed to say. Chair slightly moved. Drawers she swore she closed, left cracked open. Footsteps she first blamed on the neighbors, until she realized they were coming from directly overhead. I checked every lock. All intact. That's always the worst result. When a door isn't broken, it means something didn't need one. The air by the vents felt colder, not winter cold. Old room no one belonged in cold. There was scratching inside the wall, not frantic measured, like something comfortable in there. We pulled the attic ladder. A smell drifted down, not rot, just breath that had nowhere to go. Inside was a nest someone had made over time. Blanket, water bottle, wrappers, and drilled pinholes straight through the ceiling, facing the living room couch. Whoever had been here had been watching her sleep for weeks, but the footage didn't feel like a stalker. It felt like someone else was using the intruder too, like the house had hired him. And I'd just walked in late to the interview. I stayed. I don't tell civilians to face fear I won't share. We didn't speak much when the sun went down. Houses change at night. They remember everything that has ever touched their floors. We sat next to the basement door. Her phone on the table between us. 3:16 a.m. seconds dragged differently when you're listening for something that already knows its cue. The phone buzzed. Motion detected. Front door, the porch feet opened. Nothing outside, but my neck prickled. Not toward the camera, behind us. The basement door handle shivered. No footsteps, just intent. Another buzz, saw me alert. But this time there was a shadow on the porch with no body to cast it. "Elise," I said softly, "don't move." The shadow tilted, as if leaning through the door we hadn't opened. And then I heard it again. Not from the phone, not from the basement, but from the small space of air right between us, Rafe. Not threatening, not angry, familiar, like it had practiced the name. And I realized something that made the room feel smaller. The Ring camera wasn't warning us about outside. It was reacting to something moving between the walls and us. We weren't watching anything. We were being watched through our own house. Old homes always have one lie in the blueprint. I searched for it. Behind the water heater, one panel didn't sit flush. It wasn't rotting. It was opened off. I pried it aside. Cold air washed past me like something relieved to leave. The crawl space beyond was just big enough for someone to curl inside. The dirt floor was worn smooth, where a body had rested night after night. Scratch marks lined the beams, not panicked, patterned. Held on long enough to listen through wood. In the corner sat a collection of small objects, bottle caps, 2 keys that weren't Elise's, a ribbon, and a ripped phone book page with my name underlined. No address, no number, just my name, written so carefully you'd think it mattered. The footprints weren't right either. Not bare feet, not shoes. Like something had copied the idea of feet and got the details wrong. Too many pressure points, too many bends. That's when I stopped thinking of it as an intruder. Intruders leave. This was using the house. Like a throat, and it had learned to say only one word, Rafe. We reset everything. New Wi-Fi password, new account. If it was a glitch, it would stop. If it didn't stop, it wasn't the camera. I sent Elise to stay with a neighbor. This part wasn't for her. I turned off every light and sat alone. There is a different kind of sound when a house pays attention to you. It isn't noise, it's awareness. At 3:17 a.m. exactly. The phone vibrated. The live feed opened by itself. A face filled the screen, pressed so close the image bowed outward, like the camera wanted to back away, but couldn't. Mouth moving wrong. Eyes without reflection. A second face behind the first, trying to match it and failing. No audio. But the word formed anyway. Not in the room. Inside my memory. Like something had already lived there. Rafe, the frame froze as 6 times 12. The entire feed filled with 2 closed faces, all whispering the same word without sound. I covered the camera with my hand. It didn't matter. The whisper came from the vents, the walls, the floor, every part of the structure carrying one message. I wasn't investigating it. It had been tracking me, house by house, case by case, waiting for the chance to speak through wood and wiring, not haunting homes, using them as mouths. I started reviewing my past cases, not officially, quietly, different cities, different victims, same timestamp in their reports. 3:17 a.m. same complaint before everything went wrong. The camera keeps going off, but nothing's there. Different houses, samey blueprint lies, crawl spaces, where none should exist, attics, big enough to live in, vents, leading nowhere, panels open from inside. It wasn't traveling with people, it was traveling with architecture. Anywhere humans built walls, it could wait inside them until someone paid attention. The Ring camera wasn't attracting it, it was accidentally catching it moving. And once it notices the camera, it wants to see who is watching it back. And it says their name over and over, until the house learns how to say it too. Officially, the report says nothing. No suspect, no forced entry, no recorded crime, case, status, unresolved, a lease, moved, no cameras now, different town. I told her the truth in the only way that would let her sleep. It won't follow you. That part was true. It follows houses. Her old house sits empty now, for sale sign in the yard. The porch swing still moves on calm days. The wind chimes never do. Neighbors say the porch light flickers, sometimes, but never burns out. They think electricity is the problem. It isn't. The house is practicing breathing. 2 weeks later, at 3:17 a.m., my phone lit up on my nightstand. I don't own a Ring. I don't own any security camera. The notification still said, motion detected. Front door. I didn't open it. I didn't need to, because the walls in my bedroom tightened like something inside them leaned closer to hear me breathe. My house is newer, tighter insulation, better construction, better acoustics. The whisper didn't come from outside. It came from the structure around me, from beams, from drywall, from the thin spaces no one ever sees. It said my name again. Slow, patient, practiced, Rafe. And I finally understood. We never invented cameras to watch houses. We built houses so something could watch us through them. You listening right now, check your notification history when this ends. If you ever see 3:17 a.m. more than once, don't open the app, don't check the porch, don't call out to see who's there, because it already knows your name. And the walls you trust to protect you have already learned how to say it.